$4.20 and $1.80, $2 even, and no third dividend for the third place getter Lord Grosvenor. The Quinella paid $6.80 and the trifecta $87.40. Race 6 was over 1,100 metres. $5.60 and $2.60, $2.40 and again no third dividend. The Burketown Boy Mother's Gift Quinella paid $13.50 and the trifecta $76.40. Another small field for race 7. $4, $2 and $7, Dance Till Dawn paid $3.10 and $1.50, $1.70 and $4.70. The trifecta $288.60. And an impressive lead-up to the big races coming up at Harold Park. Biaggi paid $1.20 for the win and returned the same dividend for the place. Each-way punters brought Stormy Admiral's dividend into only $1.04, a better price for the third-place getter. The 5-1 Quinella paid a paltry $1.70, while the trifecta almost made $20. The John Edwards Milko Pace was race 7. A great finish, but Bon Rouge got there. It paid $4.30 and $2, $2.20 and $1.20. The Bon Rouge Jesta Mood Quinella paid $28.10 and a much more generous trifecta, $258.70.
The HSC is the culmination of years of study, and tomorrow students will find out just how they fared. Of most importance will be whether they received enough marks to enter their chosen field of study or training scheme. But Newcastle Careers Advisor Joy Guy says a low result shouldn't be seen as the end of the world.
Well, I think it's important not to get too stressed out about that, but to realise that there are lots of other options available besides going to university where they can use the results and the subjects they have gained to do something else.
The Newcastle Careers Advisory Centre will be one of many across the state working to help students and outline the choices available.
We'll have 3 advisors staffing the centre from tomorrow right through till Friday, and students don't need to make an appointment. They can just come in any time between the hours of 9 to 4.
Universities are meanwhile reporting an overall drop in applications this year, with many welcoming late admissions in a bid to fill course numbers. Some are even considering lowering the tertiary entrance rank on some degrees, although most universities won't go below a TER of 50. Emma Ossian, NBN News. It was a fun way to spend a day in the school holidays, plenty of mums and dads and their children wandering around the animal enclosures at Blackbutt Reserve. But the stars were the koalas, this baby with her mum, Faye, and dad, Danny, drawing hordes of onlookers. The young koalas are the result of a successful breeding program at Blackbutt. The youngest is yet to be named, with management thinking of running a competition to find the best name. And while some were happy to gnaw a gum leaf, others remained oblivious to all the fuss. Emma Ossian, NBN News. It was a holiday science show with a difference, using the current yo-yo craze to teach children something about the use of momentum and energy and the forces of gravity. It's the second summer the museum has run science shows during the school holidays, keeping the children occupied and offering their parents a well-earned break. Meanwhile, at public swimming pools throughout the region, children are learning to swim. At Lambton Pool, instructors taught some basic swimming techniques, along with water safety and survival skills. The pool also gave some welcome relief from the heat. Emma Ossian, NBN News.
Federal agents in bulletproof vests and armed with pump-action shotguns kept watch over the Southern Cross Star as it sat moored at the Nelson Bay Fishing Co-op wharf. Federal police and customs officers swooped on the Victorian-registered scallop boat as it made its way through the heads to Port Stephens under cover of darkness last night. In its hold, bags filled with hashish packed in vacuum-sealed wrappers. Each of the bags ranged in weight from 30 to almost 50 kilograms. Late this afternoon, authorities were still unsure exactly how big the haul is.
The drugs are currently being removed from the vessel and the exact quantity isn't known. However, it's believed to be a multi-ton seizure.
Federal police believe the final tally could run to 8 tonnes. The dirt brown coloured compressed cannabis resin is thought to have originated from Pakistan and Afghanistan. On the street, the shipment would be worth tens of millions of dollars. The seizure follows a similar swoop in Queensland 2 weeks ago, which netted 6 tonnes of hashish. At this stage, authorities refuse to say how and where the fishing boat came into possession of this latest shipment. Today, 2 men from Newcastle and 1 from Darwin appeared in the Maitland local court charged with drug importation. They were refused bail and remanded in custody to reappear in the Sydney Central local court next Monday. The operation to unload, weigh and catalogue the drug is expected to continue through most of tomorrow. Phil Hind, NBN News.
The wind came on cue this afternoon. Organisers were planning to abandon races until a perfect 15-knot breeze swept across the lake moments before the warning signal. In the final day of Sabo competition at Wanji, the bigger kids relished the first consistent wins of the championships. They were too far behind to win the overall title, but had more success managing the conditions to fill today's places. Others simply struggled. Senior Championship honours went to South Queensland's Kyle Robson and Out of Reach. 3 first places over the 6 heats, enough for the title. 5 two-up junior teams started the heat in with a chance of victory, but defending champions Adam Beattie and Daniel Loonan left the field behind. A mishap at the first buoy forced the youngsters to make a 360-degree penalty turn, but they went on to win today's race and claim their second crown. Meantime, in the 40th Annual Skate Championships at Teralba, sailors also welcomed the wind in their final heat of competition. Perennial bridesmaid Dave Lucky Luck went one better this year to take the trophy back to St George, while fellow Sydney sider Max Sellers finished second. In the juniors, double-decker dog beat John Howard's freeballing.
Australia's form guide shows that we're a nation of gamblers, drinkers and drug users. But many people can't handle the race for a quick fix, particularly the young. Help has now come from an unlikely source, the Sydney Casino. Part of its profits are going towards the $320,000 Salvation Army crisis service in Newcastle and Lake Macquarie over the next 3 years.
Counselling will be provided, so will training and programs such as self-esteem raising, literacy numeracy courses to help them out of their addiction and hopefully get them into employment or some more constructive way of life.
The Salvation Army will employ 2 people to help up to 80 youngsters with addictions. It'll be the first service of its kind in the region to cater specifically for people under 21.
It's hard to take a young person away from family, friends, peers, girlfriends or work. And so we need something that they're willing to access and they're willing to take part in that's comfortable for them.
The crisis centre should be up and running within 3 months. Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
She may be clucky, but she's also fiercely aggressive when it comes to protecting her nest. This 2-metre alligator is one of 25 adults involved in a breeding program at the Central Coast's Australian Reptile Park. The alligators lay their eggs only once a year, and this week the wait was over.
In fact, it's probably more a case of birth control at this point in time. Of the 500 or 600 eggs that we would be able to produce this year, we're only going to allow 50 to hatch.
Part of the batch collected will be sent to Sydney University for research. Others will be hatched, the young alligators then released back into the pond. But it's collecting those eggs that's the interesting challenge.
We have to resort to a little trickery and a little treachery to get those eggs. You see, if we leave them, they'll hatch of their own accord. And I don't think that the local community would be too impressed when those young alligators escape and end up in the local rivers.
After John briefs the team on a strategy, it's time to move quickly. Some gentle coercion, then 3 helpers start raiding the nest. There's only so long you can hold on to an upset alligator. Moments later, the job's finished. There are 3 clutches of eggs within the reserve, each nest yielding around 50 eggs. Meanwhile, her mates have been getting a little edgy, unaccustomed to waiting for their weekly feed. Today's special, chicken, which is almost finger-licking good. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News.
And a class horse. Mick Dittman, the winning jockey. General Nadeem paid $1.80 and $1.20. $2.50 for Special Dane and My Halo Broke paid $19.80. The Quinella $10.50 and the Trifecta $9.20. It was Parramatta Cup Day at Rosehill Gardens this afternoon and a return to form for Kevin Moses. And a welcome return to the winner's circle for Kevin Moses. The winner paid $18.70 and $4.90, $3.60 and $3.40 for the places. The Quinella $95 even, and the Trifecta more than $1,500. And now to Melbourne, where the best at Caulfield was the 1100 metre Rubiton Stakes. $6.60 and $2.20, $2.90 and $1.50. The Spartacus Regal Centre Quinella paid $29.30, and if you had flavour in the Trifecta, $164.60.
Introduced in the 1830s as the basis for a fur industry, the brush-tail possum has become New Zealand's equivalent of the cane toad. With no natural enemies, the possum strips forests and threatens the cattle and dairy industries by spreading bovine tuberculosis. 5 years ago, the possum population was estimated at 80 million and growing at 10 million a year.
People in New Zealand have to take the attitude that a possum is like a rat or rodent, and if we're going to beat the problem, we have to treat it that way and kill every one we see.
Problem is, shooting is too expensive and chemical baits are considered too risky for native wildlife. However, the Marsupial Cooperative Research Centre at Newcastle University believes it's hit on an answer. It's using the possum's own reproductive biology as a weapon against it. Researchers are trying to identify a protein in possum sperm which can be transplanted into genetically altered carrots or corn.
And if possum eat those carrots, and they will produce antibody, and this antibody inside their body will against their sperm or eggs.
The end result is the possums will be rendered infertile and unable to breed. The problem for researchers now is finding a gene which won't impact on New Zealand's native wildlife.
This is the problem we have to avoid. At the first stage, we have to select the protein or select the gene is possum specific.
At the moment, researchers at Newcastle University have narrowed the field down from 100 to just 9. Once the right gene is found, the Queensland Department of Primary Industry will develop a carrot containing that gene. Then it will be left to the New Zealand authorities to grow enough carrots to feed the growing millions of rogue possums. Phil Hind, NBN News.
The koala population at Tomago, north of Newcastle, has been dramatically reduced in the past couple of years. In 1994, there were more than 400 living in the wild. Today, there'd be lucky to be more than 100. Conservationists blame sand mining. Mining companies blame the sexually transmitted disease chlamydia. Others say it's a combination of both. But nobody has offered a solution. That was until the Koala Preservation Society proposed the radical move of a koala cull.
We are expecting National Parks and Wildlife to issue us a licence so that we can go into that area and humanely take out those diseased animals to save the greater population.
The Society has applied to kill up to 60 sick koalas, although the number of animals to be put down is expected to be much lower. The National Parks and Wildlife Service will make its final decision on Friday, but it says the Society hasn't justified its application.
When you go and you go to a tree and you see an animal that is blind, that is bleeding from the urogenital area, that is starving because it can't find food because it's blind, we find it very hard to take.
As animal carers, the members of the Koala Preservation Society can already legally put down the animal, but they want that role formalised. Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
The campaign to transform this seaside town is being hailed as a great success. A new boardwalk, mall and better facilities drawing thousands of holidaymakers to the area. But it seems not everyone is happy with the changes. A tree planting program along the foreshore has been severely hampered, with 12 trees maliciously destroyed so far.
They've been cut off at ground level, they've been poisoned, they've been chopped down, and we're finding it very difficult to find who is actually doing this and doing something about it.
Transplanting the Norfolk Island pines began 2 years ago, but it's only recently that the young trees have started dying. New pines are being planted. Wyong Council says the damage is costing them thousands of dollars. Council is at a loss as to why the trees are being destroyed. They say it could be a personal vendetta against them or just senseless acts of vandalism. Either way, they're determined to catch those responsible, with a $5,000 award now up for grabs.
We've letterbox dropped all the residents in the area, asking them to help us to locate these people. We're putting signs up to tell people that there's a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to a conviction, and we're increasing the number of ranger patrols down that area.
Sarah Griffiths, NBN News. They've single-handedly convinced the world that tap is cool. Their grunge look, high-energy performances, dazzling fans and stunning critics. For 17-year-old Garen Michelitzis, who's been dancing since the age of 3, joining the team was a dream come true, and up until now it had been a lucky run.
I did 199 shows without having a break, so I just missed out on the 200, but yeah, I was having a good time in Japan.
But all that came to an abrupt end after Garen tripped on stage during a performance and broke his foot, the injury forcing him to withdraw from the troupe and head home for some TLC. Despite the pain, there was barely a limp, Garen simply taking the injury in his stride. With the plaster off in a week, Garen hopes to have his tap shoes back on, warming up to meet the rest of the team in Hong Kong.
Tap dancing to me, it's just like walking, and it's just like a part of my life, and it's just good fun, rhythms and dancing and everything.
Ken Duncan has captured some incredible images of Australia, its coastlines, mountain ranges, beaches and rainforests, all on panoramic-sized photographs. But the well-known artist admits that it's perhaps his journey to the Northern Territory's Kimberley Ranges that has left him humbled.
And it's so untouched in so many ways that it just makes any dreams or aspirations you have look pretty small in comparison to the awesomeness of that place up there.
Using a helicopter to drop him into inaccessible areas, Ken and an assistant focused on sites that have rarely, if ever, been photographed. 300 rolls of film and careful use of light and colour, producing spectacular results. The King George Falls, titled Sheer Majesty, reflects the reverence he holds for his subject matter.
It's always had a special meaning to me, and I just love it up there because it's real wilderness. It's probably one of the most remotest areas in the whole of Australia.
His exhibition at Matcham near Gosford is drawing interest. Ken also plans to take the collection to Sydney and Melbourne, then overseas.
I can get out there and bring that beauty back to others to hopefully make them look beyond themselves. That's the whole key.
Future expeditions are being planned. Tasmania and the high country of Mount Kosciuszko will be next. Sarah Griffiths, NBN News.
The Eagles made it tough for the Blues during Sydney's last visit to Marathon. The home side won one and almost took another to score a surprise series victory. At tonight's warm-up session, the locals had views of repeating that performance. Despite the loss of several key players this season to injury, Hunter will field a team mixed with youth and experience. Tonight's 9-inning game will be followed by 2 7-inning matches on Saturday. Plenty of surfing this weekend on the Central Coast with the Summer Surf Classic at Nora Head. Among the challengers will be recent winner of the Pro Junior at North Narrabeen, Drew Courtney. Sailing continues on Lake Macquarie with the Endeavour 26 State Championships. Botany Bay's Imperium won today's race from local fancy Harbinger 2. Sydney side of Whichways finished third. And Newcastle will take a break from soccer on Sunday to raise money for the Gretley appeal. The Gala Fun Day will be a relief from the Ericsson Cup draw. Activities start from 11. 130 surfers from the east coast of Australia are involved in the Classic. This year's event has even attracted 2 touring surfers from France. With $5,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs, the standard of surfing in today's heats was exceptional. Competitors were greeted with improving 1-metre surf, fast-running right-handers allowing surfers to show their best. The senior men's division was hotly contested. For the first time, they've been included on the Central Coast circuit. Today's first heat of 5 earned points towards overall season honours. Straight through to the semis was Terrigal surfer Craig Norris and Norah Head's own David Finney, while in the later heat, Greg Rowland and Brett Court also progressed. Dave Nielsen, Adam Leslie and Jay Sharp are among the big guns contesting the Open division, but the Classic was let down by the late withdrawal of Pro Junior winner Drew Courtney. Meantime, north at Catherine Hill Bay, organisers of the Catho Classic had to send away surfers due to overwhelming support. Around 20 reserves failed to get a start in the 2-day event that's open to surfers from Redhead to Catho. Small onshore conditions weren't the best, but there were some contestable waves. Gary Henry was one to stand out through to the semis in the over 35s. 6 times Open winner Justin Lee is again the man to beat in the Open division. The number 1 seed makes his first appearance tomorrow. And Gary Harley's Good Thing paid $1.80 and $1.30. Alfa knocked out Moss Rocket for second. It paid $2.80 for the place. Insufficient starters for a third dividend. $6.90 the Quinella and the Trifecta $23.40. Race 5 was over 1,200 metres. It was for 3-year-olds. King Ivor paid $7.60 and $2.20. Darren Beeban's Mount the North paid $2.30. Stonyfell Road $5.50. The Quinella $29.30 and the Trifecta almost $1,000.
His career. Mark Levin takes it in a beauty. Second, the checkered flag was Craig Boyce.